Hello and welcome to another edition of The Garden Show with myself, Paul Kerwin. Today I'm coming to you from the beautiful Westport Garden Centre here in County Mayo, and I want to talk to you about tomato plants, how to grow tomatoes properly and how to get the best out of your plants. We're quite fortunate here in Ireland to have very good growing conditions, especially for vegetables outside. However, there are some varieties of fruit and vegetables that need to be planted inside, especially in the west of Ireland. One of those is the tomato plant. Now, a lot of people shy away from growing tomatoes, thinking that they're too complex or that they'll only grow outside, and if we don't have a good summer then they'll fail. To some extent that is true. However, if you have a polytunnel, you can very, very easily grow tomato plants. Plants can be bought in two different ways. One in a pack of seeds as we showed you a few weeks ago, and number two as a plant. From my point of view, the plant is a very, very good way of getting started into growing tomatoes, because at least you know the plant is already successful and all you have to do is just nurture it to its full potential. There are two main types of tomato plants. You can buy the larger varieties, or you can buy what's called the cherry tomato varieties. This is one of the larger varieties. It's called Ailsa Craig. And the second variety, which is a variety that can be planted either in hanging baskets, for example, or tall pots, is the cherry tomato. This one here is Red Profusion. The Ailsa Craig will produce clumps of large tomatoes, but this one will produce almost cascades of small cherry-like tomatoes. Because tomatoes are a subtropical plant, they need plenty of heat and they need plenty of water. If you think about it, a head of cabbage takes up more space than a tomato plant, when a tomato plant will produce almost 200 fruit in such a small area. So you can imagine the amount of nutrients and water that one tomato plant needs. So what you need to do is, when you plant the tomatoes, make sure and space them out really well, so when the plant has reached full maturity, the leaves won't touch. And then when it begins to grow, and you'll notice this after about 2 weeks, plenty of water. If you don't give the tomato plants enough water, the skin of the fruit will actually split. Another point about growing tomato plants, and especially in really sunny, warm, humid days, is to open both ends of the polytunnel if you can and get as much airflow going through. Because as you know, tomato plants are very, very susceptible to mildew. One organic way of combating mildew is if you mix up equal parts of milk and water. You can mix up into a small sprayer and spray them over the affected area of the plant. There is another type of fungus that is actually very, very good for tomatoes, and this is mycorrhizae fungi. You can buy it in organic plant foods, for example, such as this Nurofen organic multi-purpose plant food. The fungus works at increasing yield by working on the root system of the plants, and that's really important for tomato plants, because once the roots are well developed, that means they can go searching for water down deep in the ground, or sideways if you have them in raised beds in a polytunnel, and that helps sustain the plant. When you're feeding tomato plants, it is crucial to feed them tomato food. Tomato food is a specially formulated blend of NPK, and it has lots of potassium, which is really crucial for the development of the fruit. There is a method called stopping tomato plants, where if you want the plants to grow to a certain height and you want them to stop, just let the plant grow to, say, that height or whatever height you want in the polytunnel, and then just cut off the main shoot, and you can keep that cut to a certain height and all the growth will be laterally in the rest of the plant. You want the growth to happen in the area of the plant that's bearing the fruit, or that's going to produce the fruit, but you don't want all the energy that's coming from the nutrients to go into, say, the main leader or the main shoot or anywhere else. So it's important to pinch off or prune away any of the side shoots which you don't really need, and that means all the energy for the production of the tomatoes will go into the tomatoes themselves. If you don't have raised beds in the polytunnel, you can actually just get a grow bag or a growing bag, one similar to this one here, and this might hold 4 plants, so cut an X, pop the plant in, cut an X, pop the plant in, or you can place it into one of these growing bag waterers. So you can push the grow bag down onto these spikes, you can fill it up this with water. There's a little gauge here that tells you when the water has gone down. It's ideal for tomato plants in that there's always plenty of water to hand, and it's deep enough that the roots can develop, and you can see at a glance using the gauge whether they need a sup of water during the very, very hot summers. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Next week I'll be looking at the mysterious world of alpines and how to use them around the garden. So until then, bye for now.